Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Pop Culture Christ Cam. Still not sure about the name, thinking of changing it, keen to hear what you think. But anyway, let's talk about something. Let's talk about Game of Thrones. Now I'm sure you've heard of it. It's one of the most successful shows on TV at the moment. Big budget, big adventure, but it's also an R-rated show. Game of Thrones is full of stuff that we need to really think if we should be watching it as Christians. Now, earlier this week, I put up on my Facebook page a quote from noted sexologist Patricia Werricoon, who called out Game of Thrones as pornography. And if anyone's going to know what pornography is, it's going to be Patricia Werricoon. This woman is fantastic. If you've never heard Patricia speak before, I've seen her get up in front of a huge room full of hundreds of teenagers and confidently assert that she'd had more sex than everybody else in the room combined. And I don't think she was exaggerating. Patricia is not afraid to talk about the big issues about sex, and when she says that Game of Thrones is full of things that are of a sexual, pornographic nature, you need to pay attention. I mean, honestly, any show which involves a man raping his sister next to the dead body of their son, you've got to ask some questions. And I'm noticing a trend that Christians will say, it's okay, I only watch Game of Thrones for the story. It's a great story. Yet, there's an awful lot of naked women on the screen. You've got to be saying, is this what I want to expose myself to? If I'm being somebody who's above reproach, if I'm fleeing sexual immorality, as we're told to in the Bible, then is Game of Thrones something we should be watching? Now, I've struggled with this a lot as being somebody who absorbs pop culture and watches lots of movies. I've often had to think, should I be watching this? Now, I think it was last year, maybe been the year before, I got a press screening to go see a movie. This happens a lot. And quite often, because I'm seeing it weeks ahead of everybody else, there's no reviews for me to find out what the content is. Now, this particular movie I went to with my wife, and I'm really glad that I saw it with my wife, because there were significant chunks of the movie where I was intently looking at the carpet of the floor because I wasn't looking what was on the screen. Where one of the key plot points of the movie involved full frontal nudity and a woman using sex to manipulate somebody. And it was pretty graphic. And I had to think, can I recommend this movie? Because of these pornographic things that are in it. I think for us Christians, we can be too tempted to say, I'm okay. It's not going to affect me, I can pay attention to everything else. And I want to ask the question, are you kidding yourself? Do you really think this is not having any effect on you? Do you watch Game of Thrones? And do you excuse it saying, well, it's a great story, I can just fast forward the sex scenes, but they're still there. It's R-rated for a reason. And that's my challenge for you today. What are you watching? And are you too quick to excuse it and embrace your Christian freedom when maybe it's not helpful for you at all? Now, a lot of the response has been, well, of course it's not a kids' show. I'm not arguing that. Of course it's not a kids' show. I want to argue, is it appropriate for adults? I've watched 2 episodes of Game of Thrones, the first 2. That was enough for me to go, no, I can't watch the rest of this. There's enough sexual content in those 2 episodes that I just had to write off the whole show. Now, I know it's popular. I know if they want to be engaged with what everyone else is watching, should be aware. But it's not worth it for me to have those pornographic images in front of me. What do you think? I'd be keen to hear in the comments what your approach to Game of Thrones is. Do you watch it? Do you think that I'm overreacting? How do you reconcile the Bible's push to flee from sexual immorality with watching shows with incest, rape, lesbian sex, full frontal nudity, all those things? So, love to hear from you. You can comment here on the Facebook comments, or you can reach me on Tumblr, Twitter, or on the Pop Culture Christ site. Be keen to hear what you think. See you next time.